Welcome back. And unbelievable, man. This has been uh, a weird situation here. I broken down the whole divorce situation, the things and details that's going on behind the scenes that led up to it. And a lot of people think infidelity is the number one, and it's not. But Jennifer Lopez's exes have noticed this pattern with her. And pretty soon that everybody's like targeting her. It's like, you're the problem because this keeps happening to you. You the one keep filing for the divorce. You're the ones that's going with the separations after the engagements, rushing into relationships instead of taking your time to actually find a spouse. So it's like, do you really want to be married in the first place? Well, a lot of things have come to light. Jennifer Lopez's side of the story. Now, what people have seen in countless years was her with A-Rod, Mark Lopez, Chris Judd. She has went down this road many times with many different suitors. And Mark Anthony is the one, he's the one that actually has children with. So this has become a problem for the whole relationship altogether. And he's like, I'm not too happy about her jumping in there because my kids get to see her in different relationships is on the tabloids. They're growing up seeing all this stuff. And he was always affected by that, saying like, it's hard because we both are entertainers. We both have to travel. So we got to talk to the nannies and, Zoom call and keep in contact with the family. And I have other kids in other marriages, meaning Mark Lopez. And now he wants his other kids to blend in with his kids with J-Lo. And she's like blocking most of it. It'll make it difficult for him to see the kids and have them all meet their other brothers and sisters. And this is, the problem when you deal with relationships and it gets to this point. But before we get too far ahead, let's go ahead and hit, what we normally do. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe, good people. And at this point, it's time to jump into the intro. Hi, I'm Carcino. Oh, let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world. And I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. Now, everything got juicy. They jumped into a wedding, Ben and J-Lo, but it just went from a spiraling situation to the beginning. Ben Affleck was warned not to get into this. Jennifer Lopez herself filed for divorce, which means all their assets are split, including that $60 million home. They got to split the sale cost of that. And all the assets that they've attained during the marriage have to be split down the middle. And she voted for no spousal support for Ben Affleck. But this has been going on, negotiating since April on how this was going to play out. And for months, she was like, I don't need a lawyer for this. I'm going to go ahead and file and get this done because she's sick of the negotiations and the pettiness of what's been going on here. Now, what many people don't know or don't understand or judge in this situation, that this could be a nasty financial split if Ben really wants to push it that way, because she left herself very open with no prenup, no financial arrangements. So this could get really ugly. They could split assets and different properties. A lot of different things have been going around. So she's been getting bashed in the media, calling it, oh, another Jennifer Lopez situation. Now, a lot of people said this was a long time coming. All the speculations, all the stuff that was breaking down, that they have been miserable for months. And this has happened right after the first year. And everybody felt frustrated in the relationship. They were more infatuated with each other back in the first part of the relationship. This was more of a business as than it was a relationship this time around. As I explained to you guys before, everybody else is caught into the glamorous part of it. They're not looking at what it really means and what is really detailing. This is more of a business arrangement. When she was with A-Rod, her business was booming. A-Rod is a great businessman. His thing is he's never been good in being married. You know, he's got a lot of infidelity issues. He doesn't like to be in one woman relationships very long. That's always been his problem. But as far as business, he was always on his business. I know because I might be partnering with A-Rod into some business, but shh, that's for nobody's business but mine. Yes, A-Rod might be one of my business partners. So with that, piece of business out of the way, we move to another set of business. And that set of business is growing a company or organization to what you see it becoming. You start off with a little trinket, but then you have to start improving the business. Same thing in a relationship. You have to start working on your marriage. You have to treat it as something that's gonna last throughout the years. Told you about the children. Told you about the blended marriage with Ben's kids and her kids and how those kids got along great. Not all of them, but mainly, his daughter. And now she's talking about having a transformation like J-Lo's daughter. And now they both want to be boys. And it's crazy, and Jennifer Garner wasn't too thrilled about the influence Emmy had on their daughter. So they didn't know what to do with the situation. Ben is just loving the children and doing what most fathers do for the children. But Jennifer Lopez, by her firing a bunch of people, I happen to know some people that used to work for Jennifer Lopez, that worked with a lot of people in the industry, mostly Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. They worked with Quincy Jones, countless others. Trying to think who are the other people that they have worked with that you guys might know. Derek Jeter. They've done a lot of work in the industry. Okay. So enough name dropping, but yeah. These people have various jobs where they're assistants. They have someone that they hire just to hire other people. They have people that they hire just to fire people. Like they personally don't do that or say, hey, you're fired. They'll have someone else that they have in place to do that, either a personal manager or they would hire a firm to go around and fire people for them. That's their job. Their job is termination. So working with these people, it's a lot of claims from housekeepers, um, nannies, to personal chefs, assistants, who really weren't getting paid, didn't get paid what they thought they should, hair and makeup people who were fired. All of these people have all this information and they willing to spill the dirt on J-Lo. So all of a sudden, J-Lo's name is being dragged through the mud. And because of this, with this whole Ben Affleck thing, everyone was feeling sorry for Ben when she filed for the divorce. She wants to change the perceptive. Well, her name was taking most of the abuse. And when your name is taking most of the abuse, this is kind of how it goes. Well, it was during their second anniversary is when everything went down. Now, Ben moved out, got another place he's renting, and he takes the kids and visits with them there. They don't go to the house. And now she doesn't want to go to the house. So now they're going to go ahead and get the divorce. But here's the thing that she's pushing in her narrative. She's claiming Ben never liked the house when they bought it. Jennifer bought this house. Ben didn't even want the house. It's too far away from his kids, he said. The house is too big for her. And this was part of the things when they listed it for 68 million, when they bought it for like 59 plus, but they've done some renovations, so they want 68 million for it. Meanwhile, she started her own house hunting thing, right? While Ben went to the Pacific Palisades to be closer to Jennifer Garner and the kids. And Lopez purposely chose that house to get away from Jennifer Garner in that situation as much as possible. So now she's got her people looking for houses for her in Beverly Hills. She's trying to get a new home with a new fresh start, and she doesn't even want that place anymore. Now she wants to leave because Ben didn't know how to appreciate it and he didn't want it in the first place. So now all of these things are coming back full circle. And she's listed her concerns now. Now, when you start seeing people in their concerns, then you start to see, okay, all right, we get it now. Well, they said Ben was the one that was hard to deal with in this whole relationship. This is what her side of the story is trying to change it to. Ben Affleck was the problem. Ben was the one. She constantly had to fight a losing battle, bringing Ben back up to speed. A-Rod, she never had these problems before. Ben coming out of this spiral of alcoholism, a divorce, and all of these things that was put up against Ben. And he was fighting his way back to the top after all of these things that was coming out about him. A-Rod was more easier to work with, easier to deal with, and was just a pleasure as a person, that she never even imagined this man cheating on her, because they had such an amazing life. It was devastating that she just ran and jumped into the arms of Ben, who she knew was at a low point when she got with him. But his infatuation and wanting to get back with Jennifer and having this opportunity to reconcile, and was there for her side when A-Rod's situation went left. It was a whole different situation this time around. First time around, Ben Affleck was the big movie star, A-list, 20 million a film. He was that guy. Then it all flipped. Jennifer Lopez, he used his contacts to help build her up to get her starting roles in major motion pictures. Made in Manhattan, The Wedding Planner. She was the big name in Hollywood now. And then it started to work against them once they started talking about tying the knot. Then his career started to tumble. And people started to hate him because of the relationship, which made them split so he could try to get his career back. And he was the A side, she was the B side. Now this time around, she's the A side, he's the B side. And this does not work. And it was a time bomb waiting to go off, because in her leaked information out to the public, Ben was just always, he was not a nice person. He was negative. He was stubborn, very selfish. And they're putting this notion out about Ben. Like, he wasn't the nice guy. He was always down, and Jennifer always had to pick him up. This is what they're leaking out for Jennifer. So this is her PR team, Benny Medina's handpicked team, to go out and leak this information out to social media outlets, so that they can spread this narrative that Jennifer was the good person here and Ben was the problem. He's so problematic, and she's got to be the voice of reason, and he's so sarcastic and putting her down. He's so negative, and she's always trying to spend her energy to pick him up. This is the narrative that many people don't see in a marriage. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying you expect this. I expect to hear stuff like this, but it's a lot more complicated than what people could realize. Ben seemed happiest not being married. Some people just can't balance the two lives together. You almost have to marry someone in the industry who gets it. But you want someone who's going to be supportive, that'll be there for you. But Jennifer looked at Ben and treated him as if he worked for her and not her husband. And what the public saw when they were out on the red carpet is not what was happening in real time. Her career is starting to tumble. Her movies failing. Marry Me, Shotgun Wedding, This Is Me. She's filmed like 4 movies in a row. Like 4. This new movie on Netflix. She did like 2 movies on Netflix. She has been working nonstop. And while working nonstop, this has turned into a horrible situation that has not gotten better. It's just gotten worse and worse and worse. And his career is still in like limbo. He's put out some movies that did absolutely nothing in the box office. And her movies have done absolutely nothing in the box office. And now it's like she's losing that stature that she had in Hollywood for a minute. And now there's like, look, Netflix is like, okay, we gave this a shot. I just don't see us really going forward with this. And I can't really blame Hollywood for wanting to pull the plug, on J Lo, and she put her own money into that "This Is Me" project, like a big musical honoring her. She couldn't get some of the actors to be in the project that she wanted, and Ben Affleck, they made like a documentary, the making of it, of "This Is Me," and in there, Ben Affleck is telling her this is a cardinal mistake putting your own money into the project because people didn't want to fund this thing because they don't see Jennifer Lopez as bankable as she thinks she is. Her movies have flopped, because the premise seemed to be all based around her. That Marry Me movie with Owen Wilson is just another part of her life. Since Hustler, she's been hungry to try to get an Oscar nomination or get nominated for an Oscar. She didn't get the Golden Globe. She got nominated and got basically what she felt cheated out of the award and completely got shunned at the Oscars, didn't even get nominated. So it's clear that Hollywood really doesn't like Jennifer Lopez. So a lot of people that don't view her and take her seriously, no matter how much she works hard to get to that stature and puts up. It's a lot of women in Hollywood that don't like her, and they have reasons. She's dated their boyfriends or their ex-husbands, or she's been mean to people that was good to them, and they don't really like her because of it, and they basically don't like her demeanor and keeps her in a certain space. So now that she's trying to change this narrative is because now her side of the story in the divorce, she wants to make it look like, okay, I was carrying this guy. You guys didn't know it. I have to pick him up. You guys knew he was an alcoholic. You guys knew he had been spiraling since the divorce. He was just out there, and I brought him back and built him up, and I get no credit for that. And now that I'm filing for divorce because he's just not built for marriage. This guy is not in a loving space. He's not somebody that you would look at and say, hey, this is the guy. He's just a miserable person. And that's what the new narrative is about Ben Affleck that they're trying to paint. He's this person that just doesn't know how to be happy anymore. He's just miserable and just gives up. And she's the inspirational light. She gets inspired by other people's motivations. Might be some truth to it, but you chose this. You chose this life. You think you can throw your sexuality around and bring forth all of this energy towards the relationship of getting what you want, your sexuality, your J-Lo. And when you went from being Jen to J-Lo, it altered your life. It altered everybody's life. Ben is a New Yorker. And let me tell you about New Yorkers or Jersey guys. They're from Boston, around that area. They're East Coast guys. They really hate California. They really don't like it. They love being on the East Coast. They love being around Massachusetts and going to see Boston. They love it out there. For J-Lo, she's from the East Coast as well, but she's adjusted to California life. She really hates going back there. Now, her thing is she's adjusted to this life, but she chose it. Ben might be all those things you just said, but you chose this life. You chose it. And now you want to punish Ben for it. You chose this. You made a conscious decision in your everyday walk of life to say, hey, this is me, this is what I want, and this is how I want to do it. You made that conscious decision. You wanted Ben Affleck because you were embarrassed by A-Rod's cheating scandal. And you felt this was a reflection on you. And you had to sever a lot of business ties that you and A-Rod had together. And you jumped out of it, like parachuted out of a plane to get away from it. And because of that fact, you spiraled and went into another direction that was very negative towards you. Did not work in your favor. This marriage, quick shotgun wedding. Look, think about it. Look at the movie she made. Shotgun Wedding. Pretty much what she had with Ben Affleck. Marry Me, where she just goes on stage, randomly asks Owen Wilson to marry her. Her life, right? Then she puts out This Is Me. What does This Is Me? A story of my life. You just put out 3 movies based on you. Mother. She's this woman out trying to protect her kid. The movie was pretty good, but bland acting. But yeah, you could say it was a good movie. But out of all of them, that one would be the one that took the cake. Now, this Atlas movie, it was so bad. Like she falls in love with an AI or something. I didn't even watch it yet. But the reviews were so bad and awful that she took such a loss on This Is Me that I don't even think movie theaters kept it up at all for like a week, maybe, because they don't view her as interesting. They don't take her fan base serious. They don't take anything about her serious. And when you are in this narrative and you're in this spiral wave full of hate and people who distrust, you're going to often be put in a cat's bird seat.
Affleck's public relationship played a role in their split again, explaining the singer feels duped by the actor checking out of their marriage.
It was like a tough one for me for whatever reason. For many reasons.
Days after Jen filed for divorce, our source says she didn't want their marriage to end, but it was clear that Ben was not into it. The honeymoon phase was very quick for them. Their differences came out pretty early on in the relationship after they got married, and they were arguing. One of those differences? How public J-Lo was about their life. Since rekindling their romance in 2021, the two were anything but private about their relationship. But seems Ben never adjusted. The source tells ET being private meant different things to the two, and it drove a wedge between them. Their relationship was like opposites attract until it wasn't.
We do our best. We do try our best.
Our source says J-Lo feels upset and somewhat duped. She really believes he is the love of her life, but doesn't understand why he was done so fast. As for how Ben feels about Jen now, he still has love for her, but couldn't handle everything that came with being married to her.
And this is the narratives that they're running with. So let that sink in. For those people that care so much about the relationship and everything that's tied to it, and you want to know the insides, what do you learn from this? What do you learn is that money doesn't bring happiness. They got money to pay their bills and go do whatever. That doesn't mean happiness. That doesn't mean your kids are taken care of. All they have the same problems as everybody else who's married. The money is not going to do anything for you in that situation. Money cannot deal with the psychological damage the kids are going through. The money is not going to be an excuse. You either swim or drown, but you have to be willing to make a marriage work. You have to. If you're not willing to make the marriage work, you'll end up like this woman here, where the marriage is all about her. She wants to be married. She wants to be in that situation. She wanted this. She knew what she had in Ben. She'd been with Ben before. She knew this going into it. This is going to be great for our careers. We're turning the press into the whole media thing. This was building him up, building his career up. So now it's like, okay, let's see what happens with Ben now. Will the public still care about Ben? Will it be good for him? This wasn't the way back. This was a nightmare decision for him to get back with Jennifer Lopez and take this route. It was a business decision that didn't suit her. It suited her till it didn't. And when it didn't, it's when her movies are flopping and she's gonna look to blame somebody, and you're gonna be it. You're the negative Nancy in her life. So people take one thing from this, from a male perspective, looking into this, when people are sending out their messages to try to build themselves up in the divorce because it's not going the way they thought when they filed it, that no one's really taking their side. Always expect their PR team to put out their side of the story and start leaking information through people that they trust, an assistant or whatever, and give them out as a anonymous source. This happens all the time. It's just basic Hollywood propaganda, and it's just amazing that all the major news outlets have this source, and the information just starts coming out to paint the narrative and the picture to fit their perspectives. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. Shouts out to Kwame Brown, Bus Life. Welcome to HDII TV, Jag Sports Talk with Jose Rodriguez. And go to my Patreon right now, the Garcino for Life Patreon. And if you like everything here, you could donate to the Cash App. Send us a message there. And yeah, we got a chat room in the Patreon. It's pretty cool. So I like chatting with the people over there. It's a lot of information passing through there. So yeah. I appreciate that too. Y'all keep me informed in my own Patreon. So let's get it. I'm out.